Hey there, good evening. Nice to see you. It's time for the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to reporters, writers, journalists, other people who put stuff out in the Bronx so you can find out what's going on. In our second segment today, under that category of people who put stuff out, we talk to artists and performers. And this evening, we're going to talk to a Bronx artist who works out of YOHO, Yonkers, as a matter of fact. Nonetheless, let's get started with the senior state politics reporter from City and State New York. It's Rebecca Lewis. Nice to have you with us, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me back on.
Rebecca, you have really been, as far as I'm concerned, a godsend to at least help us understand what's going on in Albany. What happened with the state budget? It's due April 1st. We did have on-time budgets with Governor Cuomo, but with Governor Hochul, we were now almost a full month late. Why did that happen?
There are any number of reasons that we could say, but really it's because Governor Hochul uh, wanted to get what she wanted to get. And for her, that means for Governor Hochul, and she has said this many times, a late budget is better than a bad budget. And so, as long as we don't reach a point where critical services are no longer getting funded, if we don't reach a point where schools don't have their funding, nonprofits don't have their funding, most people probably won't necessarily notice
Ah.
a late budget, even by a month. And the governor viewed this as a victory. So it was part of her negotiating tactics, best as I could tell.
It's very interesting to hear you say that because, people like me or others who follow would say, oh my goodness, it's late again. Can't you do? But you're saying, since nothing was defaulted on and nothing didn't happen as a result, not that it's no big deal, but at least it got done. Um, let's just roll through it. I say roll through it because you wrote an article which basically explained to all of us what made it into the 2024 New York State budget. And we also have to credit Chantel Destra, who's the associate state politics reporter, because she assisted in the article, right? I'm sure you agree with
Yep.
that. Um, but let's start in with what many people thought was a very big sticking point, and that was bail reform. Your note was that bail reform was in, but it wasn't the complete ask that the governor had. Why don't you help us define what happened?
Yeah, so bail reform was definitely one of, if not the biggest sticking point. It was the thing that was holding up the budget for a couple weeks after the deadline, at least, a week and a half. And the governor had originally made a proposal to remove the least restrictive means standard. So opening up for a judge to impose bail or other pre-trial conditions for serious offenses, not necessarily what would be considered the quote unquote least restrictive one. Although part of that, whether it was by design or by mistake, it's still sort of up for debate. She removed in her proposal the definition of bail as a means to return to court, which was added to the state law back in the 70s and was a pretty landmark criminal justice reform. That was the last time that the state really debated including a dangerousness standard, and they rejected that in favor of saying the only thing that bail can be used for is to ensure that someone returns to court. And her original proposal, again, whether intentionally or not, removed that standard, and that really had a lot of criminal justice advocates and public defenders uh, pretty upset. It would have rolled back a decades old law. And so the final version that passed was it's a little bit more complicated than her original proposal, which was basically like a single paragraph in the state law. This, what ultimately was part of the budget, was more detailed in so much that it removed the language from every single part of the law and replaced it with, I believe, very similar language that a lot of Democrats, at least moderate Democrats, more moderate Democrats, have said doesn't change too much.
Right. And the big thing was discretion for judges to make, decisions on people who come in front of them. The big question to me is, if I'm sitting out there in the general public, why are we talking about this during the budget? I mean, in other words, is it really a financial thing? And it seems to me the governor was trying to burgeon her criminal justice credentials in including it in this, despite the fact that it was very controversial and it really might have been one of the reasons the thing was held up for so many days.
No, that is absolutely correct. You'd have to, ask Andrew Cuomo, ask George Pataki. They're the ones who kind of started this. Really, it was Cuomo, but it goes back. It does go back even further to George Pataki. The idea of including policy in the budget. This is where the governor has the most institutional power. So, especially we saw under Andrew Cuomo, and now we're seeing under uh, Governor Hochul, is using the vast institutional power that they have in the budget process to get
Yeah,
large parts of their policy agenda done, even if it
right.
has nothing to do with, fiscal issues.
We're not going to have enough time to roll through everything. I'm just going to pull out a couple. Another thing that did not pass, which many Bronx elected officials were for, was the taxing of the wealthy. And that didn't happen. Many people see this as a good source for finances to, do things that they want to do. That didn't make it. It was a surprise to me. You've got a Democratic-controlled legislature and governorship. They couldn't push that through.
The governor has said that she did not want to raise taxes. That was on anyone. She didn't want new taxes. She didn't want to raise taxes. She is, in that sense, very much a fiscal moderate to, more kind of fiscally conservative in that particular regard. Certainly, progressives wanted to see increased tax rates, income tax rates on the wealthiest New Yorkers. Something of a compromise. The governor did include in her own proposal, and it made it into the final budget, an extension of the higher corporate tax rate, first approved in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So that was expected to potentially be a fight, but the governor, included that proactively, and that did make it in. So it was a continuation of a tax that was going to sunset. But the new bill, the new taxes, the legislative leaders too, they said, there is not a need right now for all this new revenue. We don't need these new taxes. So it didn't make it in.
Didn't make it
Although
in.
New York City is getting a slightly higher commuter tax, payroll mobility tax to help pay for
Right.
the MTA.
And we'll also get, it looks like congestion pricing. That'll be for another day.
Yes.
That looks like it's moving forward. I want to make sure that we don't depress everybody. There were some things that I think people would appreciate. There was SUNY and CUNY tuition hikes were thrown out so that will stay secure. Also, more funding for the MTA was a good thing. Your comment was sort of. Why don't we just talk about, because we are going to get 5 bus lines that are going to be free throughout the city. It's unclear which one in the Bronx yet. What's your thought about MTA funding? I thought they had a good vision about the importance of it.
Yeah, there were other proposals for funding the MTA that came out of the legislature. Ultimately, a pared down version of an increase to the payroll mobility tax is what made it in. Originally, the governor had proposed an increase to, I believe, 0.5%, across the entire MTA region. Now, the final budget the increase only applies to New York City, not the surrounding suburbs, and it is an increase to 0.6%, the rate. So it's, New York City's requirements to chip in is far less than what the governor had originally proposed. So it definitely has more funding, but it didn't go quite as far as some lawmakers and even legislative leaders in their one house proposals wanted to see. And that also comes back to some of the taxing the rich. Would have liked to have seen some more money for the MTA coming from there. And also, and this made it in from the governor's proposal as well, some of the revenue from downstate casino licensures is going to go towards the MTA, when originally many
Right.
lawmakers wanted that to go exclusively towards education funding.
The governor made a big pronouncement about her plan to build 800,000 new homes. That didn't kind of, make it all the way through. I was wondering, did her optimistic plan sabotage the ability to get other housing legislation through, like good cause evictions and other things? Seems to me they spent a lot of time negotiating that and didn't have a chance to negotiate some things that certainly Bronxites would be interested in.
It's everything in Albany is, I'm sure is three-dimensional chess. And just
Well,
because
this is
someone
why
says
we
they
rely
want,
on you all the time, because you let us know about all that stuff. Yes.
the governor did not want good cause. She's made it clear that, her proposal was her proposal and it did not include good cause. Good cause is not universally accepted in the legislature either. There are debates about what killed what. Was the pushing for good cause what caused Hochul to
Oh,
uh, give up on housing completely? Was housing used to kill the good cause fight? It's uncertain. There were many progressive lawmakers who said no housing in the budget without good cause, and that's what happened. No housing in the
yeah.
budget. There's no good cause, but there's no housing either. So it's people that I've spoken to think that perhaps the governor had a slight miscalculation about how much pushback she would receive from the suburbs for her housing plan, and decided to cut her losses in favor of other priorities like charter schools and uh, bail reform, which she got. She was able to get 14
Right.
charter schools for New York City, which isn't nothing if you know anything about the charter
Even
school
though,
debate.
let's face it, she wanted like 100, not necessarily for New York City, but she wanted that through the state. Anyway, it was a compromise from top to bottom. The next time we talk budget, we'll do a 3-hour show, and then we'll be able to break down every item. But your writing at City and State New York is just so important to us. And we appreciate your time this evening. I'm looking at the long list. We did well with natural gas and building public renewables. Education funding did well, according to advocates. Plenty to talk about, and that's why we are so thrilled to have access to Rebecca Lewis, who does a great job as the senior state politics reporter for City and State New York. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for having me on.
Okay, we'll see you around town. We're going to take a very short break. And when we come back, we'll switch gears. I'll put a different hat on and we'll talk to a Bronx artist. Don't go away.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
We all know what it's like to feel alone. But it just takes one new connection. Want to get out of here? To empower many.
This is unbelievable.
It doesn't take a superhero to bring forces together. We all have the power to reach out
Let's go!
and help someone feel like they belong.
Pretty cool, huh?
We are stronger together.
So much.
Fostering a pet for a friend or neighbor can keep families together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
All right, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am really thrilled with this particular segment. I always love our artist segments, but this one in particular is, frankly, a longtime family friend. And so I'm going to say good evening and welcome to Jerry Levkov, who is an artist in the Northwest Bronx. Nice to have you with us, Jerry.
Hi, nice to be here.
And nice to see you again after all these many years. We have a long connection, family connection, and that's nice. Let's just talk about my Bronx friend displaying at YOHO Artist Studios. You are very excited about this particular facility, and that's interesting to me. It's just across the border over there on Nepperhan Avenue. Tell me about why YOHO Studios is so special.
Well, it originated for much of the 20th century as the largest carpet making facility in the world. And the Alexander Smith had invented a technique that increased the speed of producing carpets tremendously, and he patented all over the world, released his permission for I think 20 cents a yard. So he made a lot of money.
All right. And how did we get to the studios?
Well, we got to the studio because about 1954, in reaction to worker strikes, he left. He took the whole facility. I don't know, at that time, maybe there were 3,000 people employed. It was a big blow to the community, and he moved to Mississippi.
Oh.
And then the place was fallow, let's say,
for many years. And so then they have 2005, they opened it as a studio, as an art studio.
Yeah. I think 2005, maybe even before then, a woman who moved, an artist who moved in California, rented the 5th floor, and she called it YOHO, Yonkers, north of Houston Street. And then she leased
it is north
properties, and then it grew into, I would say, 50 or 60.
Why do you like working there? Like what is good about that facility for you?
The studios are quite nice size. The lighting is good. There's a community of artists. You know, as I said, maybe 50 or 60 artists in the building. All kinds: muralists, painters, sculptors. There's at least one, maybe 2 tattoo parlors
in the building.
And
did you get a tattoo, Jerry? Did you get a tattoo?
I have not yet availed myself.
So I do want to say it's located at 540 and 578 Nepperhan Avenue, and artists should be interested, certainly if they want to have a nice space, as Jerry has described. Let's talk about you as an artist. You have always been an artist, or it's something that frankly, later in your life?
My career was as a chemistry professor. I have a PhD in chemistry, and I taught at Iona University for over 40 years.
Oh, how did I not know that? That's fascinating.
I had no idea that I was always interested in art, but not as an artist. I had no idea that I had any skills whatsoever until about the age 50. And at that time, there was an evening course in drawing. It was taught by a nun who was an artist. And I enrolled in that and found I had some skill. And she was a very good teacher. And
so there it was. So I want to move it ahead because we want to show some of your stuff.
Okay.
Anderson can get the magic working, and we can take a look. So this is a black and white. This is a painting that you did?
This is a pencil drawing.
Pencil drawing? Wow.
Taken from the balcony of my son's apartment in Soho.
Wow. Anderson, can you put that back up? Go ahead.
Looking north.
Wow.
You can see the Empire State Building. And it just intrigued me, the view from there.
It's the fact that it's a pencil drawing. I would need 40,000 rulers to get those straight lines. So good for you. And do you work in pencil a lot, or
I primarily work in pastel. Also watercolor.
And we're going to see some of those in a moment.
Yeah. Also watercolor and pencil.
Let's see another one. Speaking of
So
pastels,
this is in Bronx Park, actually, at the Rock Garden,
in the botanical garden.
in the Botanical
Yeah,
Garden.
let's keep it up a little longer so we can enjoy it a little more. And so you go on location to do it, or do you take a photograph and then do the painting from the
I do
photograph?
both,
Or
but more frequently it's from photographs.
Mhm.
That work is a pastel, by the way.
Yes, and do you anything you like? You decide to paint, or do you find that you have trends of things you like nature? Those were two
Like,
landscapes.
yeah, I do landscapes. I like to paint people, unusual things that I run across. I'll
Mhm.
photograph. Um, I don't know. I don't have it up here, but there's a pastel I did of a shelf of cheeses that I saw in Italy, and I took a photograph of that.
Let's run another one, Anderson. Let's see what we got here. This is still life.
Yeah, so this is a pastel of a still life, as
Mhm.
you can see.
How prolific are you? Like, do you paint every day now at this point? And listen, let's be clear. You're an older man now, and this is probably among the healthiest things you could do, right?
Well, yeah, I'm retired. I go to the studio maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes, recently, I've been stuck on a particular project, and so I haven't. Oh, for weeks, I've been working on this without much success.
Oh, what do you want to tell us what it is, or should we wait
Well,
until it's done and then we'll show it?
I don't have anything to show. It's 4 statues of dancers by Degas that
Wow.
were exhibited together in a museum in New England, in the Berkshires, that I saw. And I'm
And
trying.
why do you think it's not going well, or you haven't achieved it yet?
It's just, and I guess to capture the motion that he's captured has eluded me.
All right. Well, I'm sure if you stick to it, you'll get at it. Anderson, let's look at some more stuff. See, this is people also pastel. Who is
Yeah.
this woman?
I don't know. She was a model, and I just went more abstract, as you can see, and I like that it captures a kind of exotic feeling about her.
I don't want to say concerned. I'm interested in the word abstract. It looks very realistic to me. Anderson, can we pop it up one more time? That'd be great.
I think the color of her hair, for example, is it's not realistic.
Well, it captures. There's emotion in it. You can grasp a personality in there. It really is wonderful. Let's see more. This is Jerry Levkov, who's working out of the YOHO Artist Studios. Look at this landscape. Beautiful.
So this is from a trip, maybe my third one, to the not Glacier. What's the name of the park? It's
out west somewhere.
Yosemite.
Oh, Yosemite. So it is out
and
west.
That is Half Dome, a famous mountain there at sunset. This is a watercolor. Many years ago, if you can put that up again, the front of it, that sheer, is what people climb technically, but that hump on the back,
right?
In the summer, they put up chain stairway, because it's
so you can pull your way up there.
Pull yourself up.
Did you do it?
I did it with my son.
Wow.
30 years ago.
Wow.
We went up the back, and then
all right. Maybe we should.
So I took this picture.
Maybe we should have a reunion and see if you can do it now. See if I can do it.
Well, it's a 21-mile one-day
Oh
hike.
yeah, I'm not doing it.
Guarantee I can't do it
You
now.
can't do it now. All right, let's see if we can see another one. It's good, plenty. This one I loved, by the way. I thought this was great. This is a Bronx picture, if there ever was
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I did this many years ago. It's actually a gift to a relative, and she's had many apartments, and it's traveled with her.
How large a piece is this?
This is, I would say, about 2 feet.
2 feet. So it's
by about 2 feet. Yeah, it's fairly large.
I'm doing it on the screen. Yeah, that's
and it's a watercolor.
That's absolutely beautiful. Is there one more we could squeeze in, Anderson, before we wrap it up? Oh, and who is this?
This guy is a model.
Yeah.
And I was happy with the way it captured his sort of relaxation and maybe pensive mood.
Let's just wrap it up and talk about the 19th annual Artists Open Studio event, which is coming up May 20th and 21st at the YOHO Artist Studios. I got some names of some of the other artists. Alexander Smith, Carpet Mills is the former facility, but Emily Stedman, Whitney Snyder, George M. Gutierrez, Marco Gosar. All those people are going to just be displayed, and others. These are the people that you paint with, that are there all the time. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and there are some terrific painters, much better than me. People.
Oh no. We would never measure like that.
I'm not being humble.
All right.
You mentioned some of them. They're about, as I said, 50 to 60.
Wow.
I don't know how many will be displaying, but a good number of them. There's a shuttle bus on Saturday from the railroad station.
Saturday is the 20th, right?
The 20th.
From the railroad station, like from Spike and Dival, that station?
No, in Yonkers.
Oh, the Yonkers station.
The Yonkers.
A shuttle bus. So if you get up to the Yonkers station, then you can go to Jerry, thanks for opening our eyes and our minds to YOHO Artist Studios. And thank you for reaching out to me to reconnect after so many years. And, congratulations on the great work, and hope everybody will come out May 20th to see the show.
That's great. Could I just mention that if they go to the website, yoho.org, I believe it is.
Well, we'll put it up on the screen, and that way people will be able to see it.
Yeah, I think.
Listen, we got to run. Jerry, thanks so much. Love to the family, and we'll see you around town. All right, folks, that will do it for the Bronx Buzz. Thanks to Jerry, of course, and also to Rebecca Lewis from City and State New York, who does such an amazing job. And you know what I always say? I'll see you next week. Good night.